Making the Text, chapter 1, in the introduction. Alright, so it says, second, the development of the text did not stop with the publication of the translators' work in 1611. Changes, sometimes deliberate, sometimes accidental, some for the better, some not. From 1629 on, editorial work on the text began to be a major factor in creating the text that we have today. The spelling was modernized, changes were made in the translation, and the punctuation was revised. Most of the changes were made by 1769, but work on this sort has never quite ceased. As a result, modern versions differ constantly from the 1611 text. So these devils, man, they haven't stopped trying to mess with the word of the Most High. But it says that His word is purified in the earth 7 times, man. You know, His word is there, man. It's been tested. It's stood through the test of time. You know, like an old saying. Alright. And this goes into some info here. It says, setting up the work. It says 6 companies of translators were created, 2 each at Westminster, Cambridge, and Oxford, and 47 men named to these companies. The first Cambridge company worked from Chronicles to Ecclesiastes. The first Oxford company took the prophets, and the second Oxford company the Gospels, Acts, and Revelations. Alright. Go right here. These are some rules and guidelines that went down, basically. So it says, every particular man of each company to take the same chapter or chapters, and having translated or amended them severally by himself where he thinks good, ought to meet together, confer what they have done, and agree for their part what shall stand. As one company hath dispatched any one book in this manner, they shall send it to the rest to be considered of seriously and judiciously, for His Majesty is very careful for this point. If any company upon the review of the book so sent shall doubt or differ upon any place, to send them word thereof, note the place, and withal send their reasons, to which if they consent not, the difference to be compounded at the general meeting, which is to be of the chief persons of each company at the end of their work. When any place of especial obscurity is doubted of, letters to be directed by authority to send to any learned man in the land for his judgment of such a place. The directors in each company to be the deans of Westminster and Chester for that place, and the king's professors in the Hebrew and Greek in each university. Besides the said directors before mentioned, 3 or 4 of the most ancient and grave divines in either of the universities not employed in the translating, to be assigned by the vice-chancellors upon conference with the rest of the heads to be overseers of the translations, as well Hebrew as Greek, for the better observation of the 4th rule above specified. Alright, and the last document is called chapter 1, the Apocrypha in the Bible, which you can Google this and it'll come up, you know. Because this is going to deal with the Apocrypha a little, you know. Because you got assholes out there saying, oh, the Apocrypha is not inspired and all this madness, you know. So it says, indeed, they were regarded as too integral a part of the King James Bible that George Abbott, one of the New Testament workers on that version, after he became Archbishop of Canterbury, issued an ordinance that anyone who published the English Bible without the Apocrypha should be imprisoned for a year. But the Puritans, which are Edomites, had already begun to demand copies of their own Geneva version without the Apocrypha. They felt not so much the critical objection that these books were not in the Hebrew Bible as the practical one, that they were for the most part so sensational in character and on so low a moral and religious level. As early as 1599, copies of the Geneva Bible began to omit the sheets containing the Apocrypha, even though the leaf numbering which continued through the New Testament showed that they had been left out. As Sir Frederick Kenyon crisply puts it, the Puritans persecuted the Apocrypha. Alright? The King James Bible itself, in spite of Archbishop Abbott's ruling, began in 1629 to appear occasionally without the Apocrypha, And while the 6th article of the Church of England definitely affirmed that they belonged to the Apocrypha, the Puritan influence in the rising denominational movements more and more pushed them into the background. This practical rejection of them found expression in 1827 in the action of the British and American public societies, declining to use any of the funds given them in publishing the Apocrypha. It says, most printings of the King James Bible during the century that followed omitted them, and now it is difficult to find the Apocrypha in any English Bibles except those designed for pulpit use. The Cambridge Press has recently issued one, which can, it is true, be ordered through a bookstore, but few American booksellers have it for sale. Almost all modern publishers of the King James Bible tacitly omit the Apocrypha. The English Revision Committee, organized in 1870, completed and published the Apocrypha in 1894, but sometimes printed them in smaller type than the Old and New Testament. The American Revision Committee did not revise them at all, although some copies of the American Standard Version include the English revision of the Apocrypha, though in smaller type than the rest of the volume. So they made it in smaller writing, try to say that it's not important. Bunch of damn devils, man. Whatever may be thought of the English revised version of the Old and New Testaments, there could be no doubt that the revised Apocrypha fall far below it in quality. Alright. And I believe that was it on this. Yeah. That was basically it on that article. I'm going to end it off with some scriptures. This is Job 15 and 6. Because a lot of these articles, they're written by Esau. So you might say, oh, how can the devil speak the truth and all this stuff, because the Most High made these devils to tell on themselves, man. That's what you knuckleheads don't understand. Like the elders say, you use what you can, man. Use things that that are aligned with the scriptures, that go in accordance with the scriptures, man. Even Bruce Lee said that, man. Which he's a Jake, which you niggas, I can already see the damn comment board. But yeah, Bruce Lee said, I'm paraphrasing, he basically said, learn what you can, discard that which is not important, and take in that which is important. So when we read these things, these articles and these things on the scriptures and the history, we take in what is in accordance with the scriptures, and everything else we throw out. We don't deal with that. So this is Job chapter 15 verse 6. It says, thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. So these devils, they tell on themselves, man. These devils tell on themselves. Alright. And let's go to Mark chapter 4 verse 21 to 22. So this is Mark 4 and 21. And he said unto them, is a candle brought to be put And he said unto them, is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed, and not to be set on a candlestick? Which this word is like a light. It's a great light. Alright. For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. So all these things, they're being brought out, basically. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So these devils, when they try to hide it, the Most High is going to reveal it, man. The Most High is revealing it right now through the prophets. Alright? And let's go in the Apocrypha, 2nd Esdras, chapter 6. 2nd Esdras 6 and 27. It says, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. So hold on, let me read this again. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. The word quench means destroyed, man. So evil and deceit is being destroyed. It's being put out, man. That fire is being quenched. It's being put out. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. The truth is being declared right now, man, through the prophets, starting with the elders, GMS, going all the way down. Alright, the truth is being revealed. It's being brought out. Alright, and let's go last scripture, 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 28. It says, For my son YAHAWASHI shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. After these years shall my son Christ die, and all men that have life. And the world shall be turned into the old silence 7 days, like as in the former judgment, so that no man shall remain. So wisdom was hid, you know. Wisdom was hid basically after YAHAWASHI died and the apostles died, and we were destroyed 70 AD. And even though we ruled in the Middle Ages, we didn't have this truth basically, We were in darkness, and then we went into slavery, and then in slavery the Most High showed us the truth, because in Job it says, in oppression he openeth the ear. So he maketh the ear to hear basically, It says, and after 7 days the world that yet awaketh not shall be raised up, and that shall die that is corrupt, and the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and so shall the dust those that dwell in silence, and the secret places shall deliver those souls that were committed unto them. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, and the long suffering shall have an end, but judgment only shall remain. Truth shall stand, and faith shall wax strong, and the work shall follow, and the reward shall be showed, and the good deed shall be a force, and wicked deeds shall bear no rule. Alright, so with that, I say all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi, double honors to the elders, great millstone, double honors to you brothers out there doing the true work of Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi. I hope this was edifying. Alright, Shalom.